change in color.
My name is Celina Ávalos. I am currently a senior majoring in political science at the University of California, Los Angeles. I immigrated to the United States when I was only 4 years old from Mexico to a low-income farm working community in the eastern Coachella Valley. So in my community, I grew up as an immigrant, as the children of farm workers. I saw my parents work in the agricultural fields from like 6 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. So it's really interesting when I hear people talk about Coachella, because a lot of them, when they ask me, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from Coachella. They're like, oh my God, is that where the festival is at? To me, I get aggravated getting to hear over and over and over people saying, oh my God, is that Coachella, like the festival? To me, my hometown is more than just a festival. Coachella is thinking of my parents and how they work in the agricultural fields, thinking of my siblings who also work in the agricultural fields, thinking of pretty much this low-income community and the lack of resources that are available to us. So to me, when people ask me, where are you from? I like to describe this Coachella. A lot of the things that I faced and that I realized as a first-gen college student here at UCLA is the lack of resources available in my community. How most of the time, everything that I was doing throughout my high school years, I just thought I wanted to help my community because that's, genuinely who I am. But then realizing how a lot of what I was doing was to better my community. So in my community, there's little to no opportunities for higher education or access to higher education. Growing up as a first-gen college student, my parents didn't know what it meant to have a daughter attend UCLA. To this day, I tell them everything that I'm doing in school. I tell them, oh, I'm stressing out about this class, or oh, I'm doing this thing for this club or this organization. And my parents, they just look at me and they say, mija, tú síguele, like, good job, just keep going. And I just look at them and think, wow, like the fact that they don't even know what this means. Like most of the time they don't know what I'm doing, but they're still out here supporting me. I think that's just symbolic of how much I want to help my community, despite not knowing, again, what it means to be a first-gen college student. Being a first-gen, an immigrant, a young Latina woman of color, a lot of these identities are intersectional. And to me, when I go back to my community, when I come to UCLA, more often than not, I see our voices being underrepresented. In every space that I go to, sometimes I'm the only Latina there. And to me, what I've taken upon myself is to make sure that I'm there, to make sure that I make our voices heard. Because more often than not, we're always neglected, we're always ignored. And if I'm not there, then who will be? And so, to me, leading a life in public service means serving as a voice for underrepresented communities. Whether it means speaking on behalf of issues that have directly impacted me, or what it means to be an immigrant, a first-gen, a Latina, I've taken it upon myself to make sure that I serve as a voice for our underrepresented community. I go to this meeting with my friends, some who are undocumented, because we wanted to see how this group was going to talk about DACA and if they had the right terminology, if they even knew what DACA was. So when we're in the meeting, they began to talk about DACA. Some of the misconceptions that we thought they had were true. They would say that DACA provided a pathway to citizenship for these undocumented folks, which is untrue. So when they started talking about that, we were listening, we were paying attention to what they were saying, but most of the time when they were talking about undocumented people, they didn't say undocumented people. They would say illegal alien. To me, when they would say illegal alien, and some of my friends who are undocumented were right next to me, I found it disheartening, because that illegal alien, no human being is illegal. In the current times we're in, how is it possible that an administration is able to lock kids in cages, is able to separate families, and having people talk about undocumented folks as illegal aliens? We started feeling really hostile in this environment because some of my friends actually spoke up. They said, no, saying the terminology illegal aliens, that's dehumanizing, and this group, they completely ignored that fact, and they kept on going and kept discussing about DACA. So then that's when my friends and I realized, okay, well, it's time for us to go. So while we're walking out, keep in mind that my friends and I that we were in there, we were mostly students of color. So when we were walking out, the entire group started shouting, "Make America Great Again." And when they shouted that, there is no word to describe how I felt, because I've never been present in a place where someone shouts at me, "Make America Great Again." And being a Latina, being an immigrant, and having all of these intersectionalities and having these different identities that have been used against me by the current administration, that just made me feel lost. That made me feel angry, because it's just a testament to what this administration has been doing to people of color and what it means to be in a space where people don't value your own humanity. Coming from the Eastern Coachella Valley, one of the things that I experienced, that I witnessed firsthand, was the lack of voter education that happened in my community and voter apathy. So throughout my high school career, some of the things that I did to combat this was registered people to vote. I became civically engaged. I interned for my congressman, Dr. Raul Ruiz, and also my assembly member, Eduardo Garcia. And what I tried to do with them was trying to inform voters about the different propositions, making sure that people in my community were aware when elections happened. Because believe it or not, people didn't even know what elections were happening, why they were even voting. So to me, being in that space and seeing how there was a lack of voter education, it made me realize that there is so much that we still have to do in order to make sure that these communities, again, that are often underrepresented, have a voice. And if they don't even know when elections are happening, if they don't even know about propositions, if people aren't reaching out to them, then these communities won't vote. Everything that I've been doing throughout my life and what wakes me up in the morning, what keeps me going, is thinking about my parents, thinking about my communities, my siblings, but more importantly, thinking about my little nieces. And what inspires me to keep doing the work that I'm doing is being able to serve as a model for my nieces, but also for young brown girls out there to know that they are capable of so much more, that just because you're an immigrant, you're a first-gen, you're low income, or if your parents work in the agricultural fields, that this world is infinite, that we have the power to make a difference in our communities, whether it be in education, whether that be as running for office, or be a doctor, that we can be anything we want to be. And I think that's the most important thing.